Hello, and welcome to yet another completely unprofessional unboxing, and it's here. It is finally here. Something that is maybe 2 years in the making, something that has been paved with the blood, sweat, tears, and many, many roadblocks by its creator, who has, persisted where others may have just given up, and it has finally arrived. And as safe to assume that all of that hard, intensive work, time, money, effort, as mentioned, blood, sweat, and tears, has finally paid off. And this thing is finally on my desk, ready for me to open. So without further ado, let's open this up and go through it and see if it finally is worth the wait, which I know it is, because I got the PDF. But without further ado, trusty Coleman Camping Steak Knife here. We are well past half the year of 2022 with no mistakes. Hopefully there'll be no blood today. And please excuse the shaking of the desk. I am still dealing with this new setup here. I don't have it complete. Haven't had a lot of time between here and getting home from Gen Con and getting the kids ready for school and all that wonderful stuff that, reality takes away from our wonderful hobby that we all love and enjoy. But it's well worth the trade, because without that, I don't think most of us would be able to enjoy it. So, Jesus, it's way too big. I may have to take this off screen after I open it, because it's going to go right into my mic. All right, let's see here. Yep. So I'm going to just take this off momentarily. Ooh. And you can probably hear, and what is this? Oh, okay. Well, inside there's a little poster that will give you a hint as to what's inside. There we are. Oh, no, it's got a tear on it. What's that from me? No, it wasn't from my steak knife. So if it was, I'll see about getting a different one. All right. So, oh, God. As if you haven't already guessed, this thing is freaking heavy. Very heavy. All right. Well, shit. Well, I'll have to see about replacing that or getting a new one. Wonderful piece of art there. And we'll just kind of set this bad boy down here. Get out the old trusty camping knife again. Be a little bit more careful this time. All right. Oof, God. Lots of goodies inside. And, all right, so we're going to just slide this out momentarily. And let's see here. We'll set that there. Ooh. It is as big as everyone says it is. Oh, my God. There we are. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can fix this camera a little bit. Nope, wrong way. Nope. All right. Well, you'll just have to deal with it being at a slight angle. There we go. Move that off screen and kind of squeeze that over there. There we go. That's better. All right. Well, as clearly stated prior, this is for lack of a better term, the love, blood, sweat, tears, and soul from a Mr. David E. Baity and his magnum opus, Weird Frontiers, also previously known as Dark Trails, which, added to one of the many roadblocks that he had to endure on top of everything else, COVID, printing issues, distribution issues, a lot of the things that many of the creators have been dealing with for the past couple of years. And, excuse me, let me get a cup of water here. Overly excited. There we go. All right. But yet, whereas lesser men and women would have just given up, he persisted, was very, very open and vocal about the issues that he had in regards to getting this to yours and my table, and, followed along as we did, and in hopes that it would soon come, to us in all of its glory. Now, I do regret not getting the special edition in hindsight, but, I had a couple of special moments with Weird Frontiers itself over the time of its creation. I got to play test in one of the modules with some friends. I did run a few of the games with the quick start that was, previously known as Dark Trails, and grown to just love this wonderful, wonderful Dungeon Crawl Classics setting. And I am pretty sure that anybody who has spent a little bit of time with this probably feels the same. But memorable moments, memorable characters. Frau Blucher, Pookie's character when we play tested it. Well, not play tested it when I first ran one of the scenarios a long time ago. I've run this at my friendly local game store in its past incarnation, and every single person absolutely loves this setting. It's just the perfect mix. It's the chocolate and peanut butter that is just this wonderful match of the Weird West setting and Dungeon Crawl Classics. They were made to come together. So enough fanboying on this. Let's take a look inside. No, I am not going through this whole freaking thing. It's over 800 pages and follows in line with a lot of the games that have been coming out as of late. But the primary reason for it is, as of now and as of my knowledge, this is the only Dungeon Crawl Classic settings that has the rules baked into it. You do not need to bring along your Dungeon Crawl Classics rulebook to play Weird Frontiers. So even if the rules weren't in here, you would still be carrying 2 gigantic books. But even though, oh God, there we go. Even though as thick and gigantic as this book is, you don't have to carry along your Dungeon Crawl Classics core rule book. You still need to get it because it's Dungeon Crawl Classics, but you don't need it to run this game. So let's take a little look here. And before I continue, one of the things that came with it was some character sheets, which is fantastic. What is this? So we have Weird Frontiers. And okay, so this right here, this is the funnel sheets. So nice few pads of those. I'm just going to set those aside real quick. All right, so, God, maybe I think well over 2 years ago. Okay, set the map. Let's see, you're coming gently, oh so gently. We will take the map out, and there we go. So much easier than perforated maps, WotC. Yes, just a little bit of goo to kind of roll off, and you don't have a torn map. All right, set that aside there. Okay, well, let's take a look at the map real quick. I have a feeling this will not fit on the camera, but it's a very wonderfully detailed, glossy map. So there'll probably be a bit of reflection here from the lights. But what do we have? I mean, this incorporates the entire United States, whereas Deadlands primarily just incorporates the western half within it. And I mean, Deadlands is another Weird West game. It was my initial introduction to Deadlands, and I don't think if it wasn't for Deadlands, I may or may not have discovered Weird Frontiers, i.e. Dark Trails at the time, and could have potentially missed this. I highly doubt it with my love for Dungeon Crawl Classics, but it definitely guided me towards this. So so just a beautiful map. I mean, this is definitely something worth framing if you're able to get a nice print of this, to remove the creases and everything. All right, set that aside. Okay, so in the inner part of the book, we have frequently referenced tables. Thank you for that. Not publishers and creators and authors need to do this, but in a game that is over 800 pages, having this at the very beginning is extremely helpful. So the game itself is Dungeon Crawl Classics at its core. It does utilize a boon and hex system, a bane and boon, so to speak, pluses and my little poker chips that you can use to modify your rolls, and or hexes that the judge can use to create issues for your buckaroos. Frequently referenced tables, weapons. Okay. And here we are. We have the credits here. Quite a few people on here were contributing writers to this. Pretty much everyone who is anyone within the DCC community, I think, had some part in here in one form or another. We see some familiar names like Bob Brinkman, Brendan LaSalle, Keith Nelson, Bruce Cunnington, Julian Haley. Hey, Jules, your name's in here. Let's see, Gilbert Isla, Timothy DeSheen, John Hook, Diogo Noguera, and so on and so forth. Peter Spahn and Jason Hobbs, and all the other people that I left out. Trying to keep this short because there's a lot to look at here. So, and then of course all the wonderful contributing artists: Diogo Noguera, Bradley McDevitt, Christopher Torres, Simon Todd, Peter Mullen, and the rest. Edited by Gilbert Isla and Jeffrey L. Seifert, sorry, my mistake. And of course, we have a thanks to Joseph the Dark Ombre Goodman, and Stephen Snake Newton, and Reed Santo San Filippo. Sorry. Okay, so. All right. And, this is the first time when the PDF arrived, of course, I looked through it a bit. I am not a PDF person, and if there is something that I read digitally, I prefer it to be as small as possible. So I did flip through this to see it in all its glory, but I really didn't look at it in any detail. And then, of course, we have special thanks to quite a few people here. And let's see here. Moving on. Yep. And so, okay, nice, wonderful forward by Joseph Goodman. Not going to read that, but the introduction I will. So, howdy, stranger. Gossip at the campfire. Gossip at the campfire has it you plan to throw a saddle on that old flea bag and hit the trail, hoping to make a dent in the rising tide of darkness threatening the frontier. Well, it wouldn't be fair to send you on your way without some words of wisdom and basic survival rules for when you get thrown into the thick of it with your posse. So listen up. Welcome to the frontier. And of course, it's going to just immediately begin to be inundated with beautiful artwork. I mean, there was easily, a dozen or more contributing artists to this. So this is going to be just chock full of the wonderful artwork that is usually included in just about every single Dungeon Crawl Classics offering. So we've got Chapter 1, 7 Days of Night. So let's see, Weird Frontiers begins with an alternate ending to the Civil War in 1865. Here we are. I can't escape the name. Nyarlathotep, a legendary elder god, seizes the opportunity to wake his slumbering brothers and sisters and free them from dimensional exile with a living tome called the Necronomicon. The grimoire is filled with forbidden lore, including the ancient rituals needed to bring about an event comparable to a biblical apocalypse. A cabal of cultists dedicated to the forgotten gods and entrusted with the tome head off into Mexican territory to bring about the end of all things. This week-long period of rituals would become known as the 7 Days of Night due to a lunar apocalypse and its lunar eclipse and its accompanying astral phenomena, and so on and so forth. So these events brought on by the man of many masks is what is going to transition the United States from where it was in 1865 into what the Weird Frontiers is now. So let's hit the trail. Tools of the trade. So you do need a deck of playing cards, some poker chips, of course the DCC Funky Dice, and character sheets. And it says here the Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG, which is optional. You'll find everything you need to play inside this tome, but having a copy of the DCC RPG will give you access to a host of spells and other items you can easily port into the Weird Frontiers RPG. All right. Yep, I am shaking the camera, but, everything will be secure here in the next couple weeks. And all right, so the core mechanic. Not going to go into the core mechanic. That is Dungeon Crawl Classics. And if you'd like to learn about Dungeon Crawl Classics, pick up the core book, pick up the inexpensive $5 starter or quick start, or you can get it for free, I believe, in PDF. All right, so we have a bit of lore here in the beginning. We go on with character creation, which uses 3 6-sided dice on down the line. Assign each score in the order rolled, determine hit points. Something new to this, which is part of Weird Frontiers, is Grit. Grit is a new ability created specifically for Weird Frontiers to help simulate the physical and mental stress a character can withstand while facing things best left unseen. Grit is a fluctuating ability determined by adding each character's stamina and personality and dividing by 2, rounding down. So a fear mechanic, or sanity mechanic, if you will. And then there's also the luck ability, which is, for those unfamiliar with Dungeon Crawl Classics, it incorporates a luck commodity where you could spend luck in order to modify your rolls, usually either before or after your roll. And then we have random occupation charts. Once again, Dungeon Crawl Classics lives and breathes on its wonderfully diverse charts and tables, and a lot of those have these fantastic outcomes. One of which is your beginning occupation as a 0-level character. And then going on, 0-level characters and the paths system. So there was a kind of like an alignment type system within this game, which is called walking the line. There's not really any alignment that you adhere to, that you have to adhere to. It's just depending on your actions, you kind of slide back and forth, and depending on how far you slide back and forth, the type of people within the game will recognize your character as either relatively good or evil, and attract and repel, or even have those come after you, depending on, how their particular paths are. And then here we are. So this is essentially the 0-level character creation. And then here's the mention of walking the path. So yeah, it's a point system in either way. The highest on the right side is righteous, and the highest on the left is damned. And a variety of things could occur within the game, primarily reactionary stuff, if I'm not mistaken. We never really got to use it much because I never really ran anything other than a variety of funnels and low-level character games. All right, here we go into the meat of it all. So there's quite a variety of classes in here. A lot of them are going to be familiar to some. Of course, you will see similarity between Deadlands and this particular game. But I mean, to be perfectly honest, the Weird West setting is not beholden to one single game. And a lot of the stereotypes in here existed well before Deadlands, came out. And at a certain point, just like with fantasy settings, you're going to recycle some things, because what else would there be? So, but there are quite a few more options, if I'm not mistaken, here than there are in the current iteration of Deadlands, which is a plus. So there's some things in here that do make it special. So we got Bedlamite, which I believe is a kind of a Weird Frontiers mad scientist, if I'm not mistaken, or that could be something else. But you're kind of a tinker, a maker of weird contraptions. And then we have the Calavera, which is something that may be personal to Weird Frontiers. Oh, excuse me. Let's try today. So the Calavera is someone who, who speaks with the dead or can have control over the dead. And also spell-like abilities. More beautiful artwork here. And then, of course, here they can converse with the dead, create, undead apparitions. Right. So then we have the Gambler. What Wild West setting would there be if you didn't have a Gambler? And, of course, this Gambler is going to be backed up with some sort of mystical ability, and I think they have a special. Whoops, going back. Yes, they do have a special mojo die to represent their lucky nature. Carrying on, we have the Gunslinger. Oh, hold on, excuse me. Oof. So, and who has a lot of skills and abilities pertaining to handguns and trick shots and other wonderful aspects of it all. And then we have the Hellbilly. You don't look like you're from around here. Yeah. So these are people. Let's see here a little bit. Mountain folk. People who either would live amongst the mountains or amongst the swamps, and they have a connection to nature in a sorts with within the setting of fae folk, fairies, even demons and devils around here. So they have a lot of southern themed abilities and magics at their disposal. And I believe, yes, so and there's intoxication rules for them. I think they get pluses and minuses based on their intoxication. The Luchador, yes, everybody wants to play the Luchador, and rightfully so. This is something that is just it's been around since day one, and it's a fantastic character class. All right, we have the Montebank. So I think he is more of the, not necessarily the tinker mad scientist, but he is more the chemical mad scientist, an alchemist, if you would. We have the Mystic Monk, someone who's a martial artist within the game, who has abilities based upon his chi. Oh, where is it? Okay. We have the Occultist. Well, he looks familiar. Yes, so someone who dabbles in the occult and, the forbidden knowledge, for his own either personal gain or to assist with, the posse that he's associated with. And we have the Revelator. The fire and brimstone priest, if you may, or nun, or any other religious aspect in the game. There's, if I'm not mistaken, there's several different religious components, but it's the equivalent of a priest or a cleric. We have the Sin Eater, which is a very interesting character within the game. There was one where one of my characters played this, and it's a quite interesting character. Let's see if I remember what it is. Let's see here. You're walking, talking, breathing piece to the puzzle that confounds those who dare to think outside the pages of the good book. You'll surely find yourself at the business end of a rope should you enlighten the good folks as to what happens when they draw their last breath. Just like every soul that passes over, yours begin its final journey amidst the blood reeds along the river Styx, and as fate would have it, your ferryman arrived, but not to take you to heaven or hell. You were worthy, chosen by Charon himself to shepherd souls across the treacherous waters of the river Styx, finding the shores of whatever afterlife the soul earned while still amongst the living. So you're a shepherd of souls, so to speak, if I'm not mistaken. And you have a lot of these mystical properties associated with that. You're there to communicate and, if I remember, to help some of these wayward souls pass on to the afterlife. And let's see here, the Tommyknocker. Yes, so the Tommyknocker, kind of like a revenant. You have come back to life, and you are now have a particular purpose. With your second chance, so to speak. And one of the cool things about the Tommyknocker is, and this was in the beginning of the game when I started playing it, is it gives a nice little spin on your 0 level funnel and some characters that you like. Say you were in a funnel and one of your favorite characters actually died, which happens a lot. But rather than just shed a tear and move on, you have the option of bringing your favorite character back from the dead as a Tommyknocker within this game. All right, so we've got the rules. Okay. And like I said, I'm not going to go too in-depth with this. We're already at 30 minutes now of me gushing over this wonderful book. So just going to go a little flip through. So as stated, there's boons and hexes within the game. Fear and madness. Obviously, if something happens to your grit, you can go insane. Large amount of fear tables with reactions to what you see and witness. Specific phobias associated with madness if you fall too far, down the horror of the Cthulhian rabbit hole, so to speak. And let's see, we have additional rules, some optional, some not. And of course, what would be Dungeon Crawl Classics with a gigantic amount of spells. And so the rule of magic within the game is relatively the same. There's still spell burn within the game, which you can utilize to modify the outcome of your the effects of your spell. We have aspects within the game of minor corruption and major corruption associated with this particular setting. We have the Mercurial Magic Table, which is always fun. Personalizing your spells within Dungeon Crawl Classics is just a fantastic addition. I don't know anyone who didn't want to take a moment to personalize their spells with these, sometimes beneficial, sometimes not effects, but no one seems to complain, even if they're negative. And then, of course, with the Revelators, there's the fall from grace. You need to, make atonement towards your god if you fall out of favor. And then we have spells associated by list, which is always helpful. And then we have a listing of the contraptions that you can build within the game. Helmet of sensory augmentation, optical displacer, and so on. Okay, we'll kind of flip through that. Gigantic amount. Okay, boots of acceleration, magnetic gauntlets. So this game is just ripe with personality and the ability to personalize your game. I would dare say that even though the setting is pretty much the same, there's going to be no Weird Frontier games. There's going to be no two Weird Frontier games that are being played that are going to be identical. All right, so as stated, a gigantic amount of contraptions, brews, potions, and spells, and salves, or salves, whatever, lozenges, and so on. So we'll kind of just jump forward, and we'll get to our first ribbon here. I think my gain's a little high. I'm getting thumps on the table, so I'm still trying to see if I can fix that. And I believe there's 2 ribbons in this book. Probably needs about 6, but those can be added later on. So yeah, and a lot. Once again, I'm going. A lot of my knowledge of this is going strictly on memory because it's been quite a bit of time. But a lot of care and love was put into this part of the game because I think every single one on here is a personalized spell, not just a carbon copy of something from Dungeon Crawl Classics with a Weird West name put over it. All right, there's the second ribbon. All right, so are we getting into... We are getting into... Okay, so the judges' rules. All right, so this whole part right here up to 532. 532. This is the player-facing side stuff. So even if it was split through 2 books, your player's guide, so to speak, would still be, over 500 pages. So we've got the judges' rule side, which is going to go into, the descriptions of the setting and the lore. I would imagine suggestions on how to run the game itself, and how to bring the setting to life. What do we have here? We've got generating NPCs, Sample city, how to create your own cities within the game. Moving on, of course, once again, with DCC, we have our patrons. It wouldn't be DCC without a variety of personalities that are available to be your patron within the game. And a lot of these are going to be, I would assume, Cthulhian inspired, or just straight Cthulhian themselves. Shub-Niggurath. But of course, you know, with its own flair and personality. Okay. We've got some Latino patrons here. And moving on with miracles within the game. Carousing. That's a wonderful addition that I originally saw within the Lankmar setting. And of course, carousing would be part of the Wild West. So I'm glad that's in there. Magic items. Okay. So, I mean, a little short bit on, the judge's rules. I don't think anyone this is going to be their first role-playing game, nor is it going to be their first Dungeon Crawl Classics experience as far as buying this book and picking it up. So I'm sure there's a lot of helpful stuff in there to help you run Weird Frontiers, but it doesn't really need to go into a lot of depth and detail, because I would imagine most people who are purchasing this book have a bit of experience under their belt. All right, so we've got different magical firearms and scrolls. The bestiary in here. Let's see. And does everyone have, well, just about everyone. Well, no. Just about everyone has its own drawing or own illustration. Just fantastic. Just the black and white art in here is spectacular. All right, the color out of space. I'm going to have to go back and read what that does. Okay, so we're going to kind of jump through here. Flesh Communion. Ooh. And, of course, ghouls, golems, and the great race of Yith. Oh, my. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't even a small percentage of these available within the quick start. So a lot of these are going to be new and fabulous to discover within here. Wow, just the bestiary alone is almost worth the price of admission for this. So, I mean, as you can see, and I may be overstating the obvious, which I tend to do quite a bit, but a lot of love and work and detail went into this. And I can already tell you right now, it has paid off. Mr. David Baity has provided exactly what he promised, and then some by the droves. And then here we go. Here's some advice on, or is this the, yes, okay, Death Crawls West. Yeah, this is the opening funnel. I think, is it? Yes. Is it the funnel or is it the first level adventure? I forget. I think it's it is the 0 level funnel, which, if I'm not mistaken, if this is the same one, it's quite long and detailed for a 0 level funnel. All right. And yeah, so wow. I mean, geez, it's a good chunk of adventure time, and I think it states 2 to 3 sessions. So yeah, that's a lot of, most funnels I run is easily handled within one session. So you've got a lot of detail here. Lost Souls Canyon, first level Weird Frontiers adventures for 6 to 8 PCs. Was this the one I play tested? It may be. Let's see here. Boom. Let's see. I think it is. So I'm not going to spoil it, but it was was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Is it? Oh, I don't remember. It was so long ago. I think it was over a year ago. Yeah, I don't think this is directly it, or if it is, it's been... oh, maybe? Yeah, if this is, if it is it, it's been added to quite extensively. So, I mean, when I received the playtest, the maps and everything were still hand-drawn, looked like, hand-drawn, copies of hand-drawn pencil drawings of maps and locations with a bit of inked-in detailed areas in regards to the town and whatnot. So there was a little bit that had to be filled in. And then we have the appendix. All right, so yeah, quick and easy access to a lot of the charts that are within here, which is definitely needed, not just in Dungeon Crawl Classics, but in giant books like these. And we have some information on advanced firearms, a listing of the weapons and their details, critical hit and fumble charts. Yes. Okay, and of course the critical hits are divided into... how it's being implemented, blunt items, firearms, piercing, and so on. And I would imagine the fumbles are the same. Yes, fumbles are the same. And then we've got some more copies in the back of the funnel sheet, the character sheet, once you survive the funnel, and quite a few, typical in a DCC book, community-orientated, and a lot of wonderful people are constantly involved in maintaining this fantastic game. And as you can see here, never a frown, always a smile in a lot of these wonderful pictures. There's Julian right there. There he is. Fantastic. And we've got some more wonderful people here on this side. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I just saw someone I thought I recognized. So, and then, of course, the index, which is always needed in a role-playing game. Some advertisements, which is also standard, which is great. Mike Evans, DIY RPG, author of Hubris, and Barbarians of the Ruined Earth. Check that out. That is fantastic. Last Will and Testament of Obadiah Faulkner. I ran this with the quick start, and this also is a fantastic adventure. I highly recommend that if you do pick up Weird Frontiers, the next thing that you grab once you make your way through it is this game here, because it is definitely it is a fantastic adventure. I could spoil it, but I'm not going to. So, and moving on here, we've got a lot of other familiar items here, and find us online along with all of his socials. And more reference tables on the back. And there you are. So, we have Weird Frontiers by David E. Baity. The book is real. It has finally come to fruition, and it is sitting on this table that is barely holding it up, along with me leaning on it. And soon, very, very soon, I hope to get this to the table or online, one way or another. After coming back from Gen Con, one of the things that I realized is that I haven't touched or really done a lot with Dungeon Crawl Classics in quite some time, and it's high time I change that. It's time for me to dive back into DCC and get more involved with all the wonderful people that enjoy Dungeon Crawl Classics and introduce new people to DCC, and also, just rekindle the spark that I had when I first discovered this game and couldn't get enough of it. It's going to be fun. So there you go. This has been yet another completely unprofessional unboxing with Weird Frontiers, a role-playing game by David E. Baity, compatible with Dungeon Crawl Classics. I think there's some dice somewhere in the box, but I'm not going to look for it now. They're dice with a little bit of logo on there. I'm sure they're beautiful, but let's go ahead and cut this. Cut this a little bit short here. Well, not short. It's 40 minutes, but let's go ahead and wrap this up and see if we can move on to doing other wonderful unboxing videos and pulls from the shelf and whatnot. So, thank you so much. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful surprise to come home from Gen Con to finally see and hold in my hands. I'm going to go do about 65 reps before I try to lift this thing up again. I need to work on my back a little bit, make sure the hernia is not acting up, and hopefully this will not reignite my sciatica once I put it on the shelf. So my name is Scott, and I want to thank you for tuning in and watching this video. Look for me also on the Titterpigs podcast with Keith from Rolling Boxcars. We just did a live feed about our impressions from Gen Con with us, and also Bud from Bud RPG's Review, Pookie from Reviews at Relay, and Debbie, super Savage Worlds fan. And we're also going to be doing a follow-up podcast, not a live video or a live stream, but just a regular podcast as we review the Indie Awards and compare it to what picks that we decided were going to occur in a previous podcast. So everyone, have a wonderful day, and hopefully I'll see you at the table, or otherwise see you somewhere. That could have ended better. Well, screw it. Take care. Where's the button? There we go. Bye-bye.